All right, here we go.
There is no God and we're all gonna die. There is no God and we're all gonna die. There is no God and we're all gonna die. There is no God, there's just you and I.
Hey, everybody, welcome to There Is No God and We're All Gonna Die. I'm your host, Daniel Cartier. I'm a gay, liberal atheist living in the Bible Belt. I don't even know what Donald Trump would think of this podcast. If Jimmy Kimmel is too edgy for them, I don't know what a gay, liberal atheist living in the Bible Belt saying there is no God and we're all gonna die. I don't know what they would think of me. I can't even imagine. But I don't think they'd like it. I think they're looking at freedom of speech right now, and they're scratching their heads and they're looking at all their charts, and I think they're going to be doing something with freedom of speech. And I don't think we're going to have it very much longer, which is really sad, and it's really scary because it is one of the building blocks that America was founded on. And the thing that's really crazy is all it took was one guy getting murdered. And before you freak out, if you are a MAGA person, hello. I'm glad you're here. I know you probably hate me because I'm a gay liberal faggot. I get it. And here I am saying there's no God. Yeah, I'm sure you hate me. But I'm glad you're here, and I love you back. I love everybody, even people who vote against my own best interest. I mean, I know you probably think I'm the radical left. I'll tell you, just before I keep going and talking about what I was going to talk about, if you're a MAGA person, I just want you to know what me being the radical left is. Well, I pay my taxes. I rescue handicapped dogs. I sponsor guys in recovery. When my parents got old, I took care of them. My mom had Alzheimer's. My dad had heart problems. I went up there and stayed with them. I'm a really loyal friend. I bake cookies for my entire town, believe it or not. I do. I bake cookies for the police department, the fire department, the 2 banks, the hardware store, the Mennonites, the lady at the post office, all my neighbors. Like, if I'm baking cookies, I'll bake like 8 to 10 dozen of them because everybody's going to be getting them. That is me being the radical left. Isn't that crazy? I know. You should lock me up. You should lock me up because obviously I'm a threat to everybody. See, that's how all this is sounding now. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to what I was talking about before I had to give that little disclaimer for all the MAGA people who may have shown up and, wanting to report me to the authorities because that's where we are now, too. Neighbors snitching on neighbors because he's not sad enough about Charlie Kirk. Why isn't he crying about Charlie Kirk? He should be really sad about Charlie Kirk. He doesn't seem sad enough. I'm calling the police. I'm calling Donald Trump. They're probably going to have some hotline or something. I joke, kind of, but that is kind of how it feels. 1,248 people every day on average around the world get murdered. And it's horrible. Every single one of them, it's horrible because somebody took their life, and that's wrong. Charlie Kirk was one of those people, and it was sad. He had 2 kids, he had a wife, and yeah, if you're here and you're a big fan of his, I'm not going to take that away from you. But what I'm thinking is, what about the 1,247 other people on average that were murdered that day? I don't see anybody passing any laws because people aren't sad enough about them. I mean, Jimmy Kimmel just got canceled because they didn't like what he said about it, even though he didn't say anything bad about Charlie Kirk. This whole thing with Jimmy Kimmel, He was actually just making jokes about Donald Trump grieving. They asked Donald Trump, hey, how are you holding up in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk getting killed? And Trump starts talking about his fucking stupid ballroom that he's building on the fucking side of the White House that nobody asked him to build. And because he's the one building it, I don't care who's president, you would have to drug me and kill me to go into it. I wouldn't want to go into any fucking bullshit that Trump built. No, fuck that. Fuck that shit. So, yeah, I mean, Jimmy Kimmel was going on and on about that. But Trump was like, oh, it was so disrespectful. And then he got his ultra billionaire friend who owns all the networks and is a huge MAGA supporter and whatever. And now Jimmy Kimmel, who's been on the air for forever, for a really long time, now he's been suspended indefinitely. And it just happened like that because Donald Trump didn't like how people were talking about Donald Trump. And now they're on this witch hunt. There's talk of them going after The View, and I don't know who all the other people are. Jon Stewart, everybody. Seth Meyers, they want to cancel everybody. And I don't know, I guess replace them with people they like. So now a job of the president is to do TV programming. I mean, I don't know. I didn't realize we were living in North Korea, but I guess we are. And all the people who are like, freedom, freedom, I got an American flag and I'm into freedom. I like freedom. Apparently they don't like freedom. I mean, apparently they like the version of freedom those people like, these like MAGA, Trump warriors or whatever the fuck they want to call themselves. They like this version of freedom where everybody likes what they like. And there's no transgender people, and there's no gay people, and there's no people with darker skin, and there's no people from other countries, and there's no people who aren't Christian, and there's no Muslims, and there's no, I don't know, just anybody who isn't white, straight Christian. You can still be a woman, but you just need to be subservient to your husband and never get an abortion. Then you're fine. So they like that freedom, the freedom to be that, freedom to be white, straight, Christian, and prejudice, I guess, And, here's the thing. People are like, oh, there's the left. They're being so mean. The left is being so mean. I think about this a lot, actually. When we on the left are accused of being just as prejudiced as the right is. Here's my thought on it. No, we're not prejudiced. The only thing we hate is your prejudice. The prejudices you have, that's the only thing we hate. We wouldn't hate you if you didn't have all these prejudices against everybody. There'd be no problem. I wouldn't even have any opinion about the people on the right if they didn't hate blacks and gays and transgender people and want to control women's bodies and want to, round up people and take away people's rights. If you guys weren't doing that and cheering about it and acting like it was so star-spangled awesome, I wouldn't have any opinion on you. You give us reasons to have opinions about you. If you didn't give us those reasons, it's kind of like if there was an abusive husband and he was beating up his wife, and then she finally complained. He's like, "You're so prejudiced against what my punching." Because you do realize, all your prejudices when you're taking away people's rights, you're basically doing the same thing. You may not be punching us, but you're still taking away our rights and trampling all over our civil liberties. So you're still being bullies, and yet we're not supposed to have any opinions about it, or we're prejudiced too. It's called gaslighting, is what it is. And Republicans, I'm not saying all Republicans. I've said this before. I do know some nice Republicans. I've met them. They do exist. They're like unicorns at this point. There was a Republican at the Gay Pride Festival that just happened in our little podunk county. She was lovely, and she was in my booth, and she actually bought one of the signs that says love in a rainbow thing because she supports the gays. So I'm not saying all the Republicans are bad. But you guys are on a really shitty team I got to tell you, it's like you're on the team of censorship now and clobbering free speech and just basically taking away anything that's a threat to Trump. And honestly, I'm wondering if all this was orchestrated. I hate being that person who is questioning, is like a conspiracy theorist. But, I was looking at that text between the shooter and their trans roommate slash lover, supposedly. And it didn't even seem like a text that people who were 22 would be sending. Like they were saying vehicle instead of car. Like the language they were using was really fucked up. And all the pertinent information was just in this short text exchange. Like the gun was here and here was my motive. And I feel so sorry for this and I feel so sorry for that. And like everything just was way too convenient. I actually went and I asked GBT. I was like, does this seem like a text transcript that AI wrote? And ChatGPT said, yes, it does. So I'm just saying. I mean, if AI even says that it sounds like a AI text, it's very suspect to me. But, who knows? We'll never know. I mean, because the whole thing is so fucking corrupt that it's like anything that comes out of this administration, it's like, should we even care? Because like the Epstein files. Oh, we're going to release the Epstein files. Like, we need to release the Epstein files. I kind of have a feeling that once they release the Epstein files, there's not going to be anything there because they're going to have taken every bit of incriminating evidence out. Like, why wouldn't they? Do we really trust this administration? I mean, they're all Trump appointees. Like, I could just picture them just like, I don't know, fucking getting rid of documents. I mean, I hate being this person who feels this way, but it's not like it's really hard to picture them doing that, right? Anyways, enough about that. Here's the other thing I'm going to say before I go on to the next thing. This is something that is really bothering me as well. So they're accusing people on the left of being insensitive to Charlie Kirk getting murdered. Again, he was one out of 1,248 people on average that got murdered that day around the world. But apparently everybody on the left didn't respond the way the right wanted them to. Meanwhile, if you want to see some really horrible, horrible reactions to people getting murdered and people getting violently attacked, go to any Facebook post where a transgender person got murdered or got attacked, or a gay person got murdered or got attacked, or a black person. Go and just read the comments and look at all the laugh emojis and the comments saying they fucking deserved it. And, I hope they got a punch in for me. Like I've seen hundreds of comments like this over the years. I actually went and there was this really homophobic post last summer. These people were organizing this straight pride march or some such bullshit, because straight people are under attack, apparently, whatever. But they were being very homophobic about it. It's one thing. Okay, you want to go and be proud that you're straight people. I mean, I guess, couldn't you just go to a strip club? Like, whatever. But, they were being very, very homophobic while they were organizing this and saying horrible things about gay people and transgender people and all this other lovely stuff that they like to say. And I saw it, and, I'm one of those people who's like, Daniel, don't take the bait. Don't go there, Daniel. But of course, Daniel goes there. And so I just started leaving these comments for everybody. And I was telling people all about being gay bashed and how 6 guys beat the shit out of me for being gay. And they dragged me by my ankles across pavement and they kicked me in the torso and the head. And they strangled the guy I was on a date with until I thought he passed out. And I thought they killed him and I thought I was next. And, had blood all over me. And I've had PTSD for the last 36 years. Because I thought, well, maybe if I just talk to them as a person and make them understand why gay people have gay pride, because we've had to fight to be proud of who we are. We've had to fight to be proud of who we are, even when they tried to beat the shit out of us to make us not gay, or to teach us a lesson that if you want to be a fag, this is what we think of you. And as we're watching our friends die of AIDS, and Republicans are laughing and saying gay stands for got AIDS yet, or Jesse Helm saying AIDS was God's punishment to gays. So, I was saying all this stuff, and I thought that maybe some of them would, I don't know, maybe respond as human beings and be like, wow, that's really horrible. But no, it was a bunch of laugh emojis and people saying, oh, poor baby and sissy and fucking queer. And this one lady named Priscilla from Santa Fe, like, she was saying all this stuff to me and saying that you never got attacked, prove it. She wanted to see like my medical report and everything, and she was just so hell-bent on it never happened, and people always make up these stories and whatever. And I was like, well, what? I would not wish what I went through on anybody, and I'm sorry that you feel that way. And I really got into it. And on a side note, I ended up writing a song about her. So if you go onto the Angry album, there's a song called Priscilla from Santa Fe. That's about her. So something good did come out of it. I did get a song out of it. But, Priscilla from Santa Fe doesn't like the fact that I am gay. I told her about the guys who gay bashed me. She responded with a laugh emoji. Oh, Priscilla. Anyways, yeah, it's a good song. You should check it out. It's on the Angry album. But yeah, so my point is that apparently we are supposed to respond a certain way when somebody like Charlie Kirk, who actually instigates a lot of this violence, by the way, like all his rhetoric, all of his rhetoric over the course of his life, talking about how transgender people are sick and gays are a destructive force and that they're grooming children. All it takes is like some dumb frat guys on a college campus hearing that, and what do they think? Oh, we should go and fucking beat the shit out of some fags. I mean, that's how this happens. Language begats actions. So I just wanted to point out that double standard, that it's okay for them to laugh about transgender people being murdered. It's okay for them to, post memes of Obama being hung. And it's apparently okay for them to attack the nation's capital with box cutters and nooses and all that. So it's okay for them to be violent and, to be horrible. But, I don't know, Jimmy Kimmel says some jokes about Donald Trump and he gets canceled, and people who were not sad about Charlie Kirk getting killed get reported and get fired. Like, there was a website where you could report people's reactions. Donald Trump says he wants to start a task force, apparently, to, investigate how people reacted to Charlie Kirk's death. Anyways, these are scary times. These are scary times, and honestly, I feel like they're using this whole fucking thing as a power grab. I mean, Project 2025 could not be happier right now. And so, I don't know, like, will I even be able to do a podcast like this a year from now? I should be able to, because that's free speech, and free speech is messy. I posted about this yesterday, actually, on Facebook. I am sad. Well, I'm not sad. I didn't know Charlie Kirk, so it's not like I'm required to have any emotion about it. But yes, it was too bad that he got shot. But say I was one of the people rejoicing that he got shot. I'm sorry. That would be my constitutional right. Nobody's required to respond to anything a certain way. We can respond however the fuck we want. That's freedom. And if you don't support somebody's right to be happy that somebody died, then you don't support freedom. You just don't. Again, I'm not happy that Charlie Kirk got shot. I'm really not happy because it's really fucked America up. For selfish reasons, I'm not happy because his death is being used to bring on fascism in America. I mean, because that is what's happening. And it's almost like this fast forward button has been pressed. Like, this guy gets shot and now, like, here we go. So, for very selfish reasons, I'm really sad he got shot because I thought it was bad before. It's going to be really bad now. Again, I mean, I don't know if somebody like me will be able to do this podcast a year from now. If we're even just monitoring people's reactions to somebody dying, and if that is something that people are monitoring, it's like freedom is not supposed to always feel good. That's the thing. Like, first of all, life isn't always supposed to feel good. Life sometimes feels bad, and people don't like that, but that's just natural. And it's also natural for people to respond to things in ways that we don't like. But that's their right. Here's the deal. The people who laugh that a transgender person got killed or that I got gay bashed, that's their constitutional right. I support their right to not feel sad that I got gay bashed. As a matter of fact, I know this sounds extreme, but I kind of wish that, like, some of these people I know who voted for Donald Trump, I kind of just want them to start calling me a faggot. Like, you're voting for a homophobic party. Just embrace it. Just lean into it at this point. I don't know. That's just kind of something I was thinking about earlier today. Anyways, let's take some calls. Let's take some phone calls and see who called the show. Oh, yeah, yeah.
I have a question for you. If there's no God, then why is there so much goodness in the world? What makes people want to be good if there's no God? All right. Thanks.
That is a good question. If there's no God, why is there so much goodness in the world? Well, because there is. I mean, because people choose to be good. I talked about this in, I think, the first episode I filmed. We didn't always have morals. Like, I think like back when we were cavemen or whatever, there was no concept of right or wrong. If you had a deer carcass and I wanted it because I was hungry, I could like hit you over the head with a rock and take your deer carcass. And, it was like nature back then, like kill or be killed. And then when we started farming and building communities, we realized, hey, we can't just be hitting people over the head with rocks if we're going to coexist with them. We realized that there was safety in numbers. And so societies started forming. And I think goodness exists because of evolution. I don't think that, like, animals, I'm a huge animal person. I rescue handicapped dogs. I love my dogs. But, I don't think animals have the same sense of good or bad that we do. We overanalyze everything because we're human beings. But I think when you get out into the wild, I mean, if a tiger kills a gazelle, like, there's no, like, murder trial or anything. It's like, no, that's what happens out in the wild. And so I think when humans first evolved, we were the same way. I mean, we were just trying to survive. It was kind of like kill or be killed. But evolution over time, we became these cultures. There's 8 billion of us. And so if we were all just like hitting each other over the head, like if my neighbor came back from Walmart with all her groceries and I hit her over the head and took all her groceries, that would not be a sustainable way for our country to live. Like, it would devolve into chaos. And so I think evolution has given us things like goodness and kindness and empathy. But I think it's something we evolved into. I don't think it was how we were when our species first started being humans. And again, also, yes, there's a lot of goodness in the world, but then there's a lot of badness. Is badness a word? I think, is badness a word? You guys, I don't know if badness is even a word. I don't think it's a word. But anyways, for all the goodness in the world, there's a lot of bad. I think it's just bad. There's a lot of bad. There's a lot of bad in the world. There's a lot of good. There's a lot of good in the world. There's a lot of bad. Okay, enough of me like thinking about grammar. Yeah, there's a lot of bad in the world too. I appreciate the question. I guess my answer is there's goodness in the world because of evolution. We've had to evolve to have goodness, and societies would not function if we didn't have some sort of like morals and ethics to live amongst each other. And we've evolved into a species that realize it feels good to do good things. Like when I bake the cookies for my town, I feel like $1,000,000. That's why I do it. I do it because it makes me feel good, So I don't know. There's a lot of bad people in the world, though, too. So don't forget about that. And those are the ones we have to watch out for, especially now because they're running the show. Clearly. All right. What else?
Hey, Daniel. It's Ruben calling in from Dixon, Tennessee. Tell me about an irrational fear of yours.
An irrational fear. Oh, that's my lovely friend Ruben calling in. Hey, Ruben. Well, I have a couple irrational fears. I hate things jumping out. I really do. I am not a fan of things jumping out. Like, I don't like getting surprised. So when Corey and I watch any scary movie, the TV's here, but then we have these closet doors that have mirrors on them. And so if I think something's going to jump out, I can't look directly at the TV. I have to watch the TV in the reflection of the TV in the mirror, the closet mirror, because I don't like being surprised. I just don't. I'm not a fan of it. And my other huge irrational fear is hitting animals with my car. I'm famous for driving 30 miles an hour in a 55-mile-an-hour. So we live out in the middle of the woods, out in the sticks, in a little podunk town. And so the town that actually has the grocery stores and the restaurants and everything, you got to drive through this windy, woodsy road, and there's all sorts of critters. There's deer, there's possum, there's armadillo, there's skunks, there's every single type of animal that would be running around out in nature. They're all out there. And I'm so paranoid. I've hit deer twice, and every single time I'm a basket case for days afterwards because I don't like hurting anything. I really don't. I'm not even worried when I think about hitting a deer. Like, I'm not worried about me getting hurt, and I'm not worried about my car getting totaled. I'm worried about the deer. Like, I'm worried that I hurt this beautiful animal. Like, I don't want that. I don't want that on my. So, um, so I'm okay driving during the day. Like during the day, you can kind of see everything, but at night I have to drive really slow and I have to pull over. I sometimes drive home with my hazard lights on as if I have car problems and I just keep pulling over. I've pulled over on that little stretch of road that's probably like it should be a 17-minute drive. It's like, I don't know, 14 miles. I'll pull over like 10 times to let like these pickup trucks pass me because these young guys in pickup trucks, they just want to like drive like 80 miles an hour. Like I can't even imagine doing that. So yeah, hitting animals with my car and things jumping out. I don't like being surprised. Yeah. Let's see what else.
So, what are your thoughts on Marjorie Taylor Greene suddenly changing her political alliance,
Okay.
now that she's all helping the victims of Jeffrey Epstein? I think she's just doing it to save face now that she's tired of sucking Donald Trump's dick. She wants to be on the right side at last. But I think it's all a ruse just to save her political ass.
Wow. Well, my views on Marjorie Taylor Greene is she's fucking horrible. I can't fucking stand her. Yeah, I did notice that she was one of the ones that was really vocal about, Trump releasing the Epstein files. And so I do appreciate that. I will give her credit for that. But, as a whole, she's a fucking wingnut. She's one of those people, I can't believe that these are the people who get elected. People who believe in Jewish space lasers and, all this other such bullshit. And let's face it, she's transphobic, homophobic, fucking racist. As far as her trying to save face, I don't think, unless she's really delusional, I don't think does she actually think the left would ever embrace her? I can't picture that happening. She would have to really go out of her way. Way more than just the Epstein files. She would have to like do a complete 180 on everything. Obviously, I don't see that happening. She is who she is. Yeah. So, I'm just glad I'm not her. Yeah, here's the thing. All these people just seem so miserable. Like, is Marjorie Taylor Greene a happy person? Is that fucking puppy killer, what's her name? Kristi Noem? Is she a happy person? Is Donald Trump a fucking happy person? Are neo-Nazis happy people? Are Proud Boys happy people? Are these evangelical fucking nut jobs happy? They all seem fucking miserable to me. They seem like miserable, repressed people who are jealous that other people aren't miserable and aren't repressed. You know, it's like, I always think of it when George W. Bush was like, they hate us for our freedom. And he was talking about the people in the Middle East. They hate us for our freedom. I honestly think that's what these right-wing people, why they hate liberals. They hate liberals for our freedom. For the fact that we're actually living lives we want to live. Because I don't think half of them want to live the fucking life. They seem miserable living the lives that they're living. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think it's very telling. For instance, they want to outlaw porn, but then where is all the porn watch in southern states? You know, where's all the infidelity happening in southern states? Yeah, one of the biggest places where they watch transgender porn, southern states. You know, so I mean, you tell me. Like, I mean, I've met so many people in these like super conservative marriages who they don't seem like happy marriages. I'm just saying. Now, I'm not saying it's a blanket statement for all marriages, but I'm just saying I've met some who, you know, it makes me just glad I'm not in that marriage. I'll just put it to you that way. Anyways, let's talk about who's in the news.
X-ray, X-ray, read all about it. We're in the news, we're in the news. X-ray, X-ray, read all about it. We're in the news, we're in the news. X-ray, X-ray, read all about it. X-ray, X-ray, read all about it. Yes, sir, we're in the news.
All right, I'm just going to read. I just have the news open. I'm just going to read what the headlines are. Trump threatens licenses of TV stations that criticize him. Wow. Trump threatens licenses of TV stations that criticize him. Can you fucking believe that? That's crazy to me. Yeah, okay, so this is really fucked up, you guys. This is actually severely fucked up. All right. I'm just going to read this. This is from Tribe Live. President Donald Trump suggested that U.S. broadcast networks should face scrutiny over the licenses if their content is overwhelmingly critical of him. He said, that's something that should be talked about for licensing too. When you have a network and you have evening news and all they do is hit Trump, Trump told reporters aboard Air Force One, they're not allowed to do that. Oh, and then he said, Trump praised FCC Chair Brandon Carr and drew a direct link between coverage that the president views as negative and the prospect of TV licenses being revoked as a consequence. So he actually wants to use his friend Brandon Carr, who is the FCC chair, that if anybody's critical of him, they will get their license revoked. Think about that. Just think about that. That we have a president now who thinks that they can just cancel the licenses of networks if they are critical of him? Like, who the fuck does he think he is? Who the fuck does he think he is? That is so fucked up on so many fucking levels. Again, if you are a MAGA person who claims to love freedom and you're watching me talk about this right now and you're not bothered by the fact that we have a fucking president who is thinking of taking away the licenses of TV networks if they're critical of him? Is he above criticism now? First of all, there is so much to criticize, but, you know, can you imagine if Obama, Imagine if Obama had threatened this. Imagine if Obama had said, you know what? If Fox News or Breitbart or InfoWars or anything, if any of these networks say anything bad about me, they're getting canceled. Can you imagine the fucking uproar? This is the thing. This is the hypocrisy. It's okay for them to laugh and do laugh emojis when transgender people get killed or gay people get killed or black people get killed. It's okay for them to trash Obama and Joe Biden on Fox News and everything. Like, that's okay. But like, if we don't cry enough for Charlie Kirk, or we say anything bad about Donald Trump on a network, we're going to get canceled. You guys, this is fascism. This is what a fascist dictatorship looks like. They take away the press. They take away us being able to get any information that they're not controlling. I mean, I don't know. This scares the fucking shit out of me. I mean, how can we function? It's like if we just have some fucking guy sitting on his golden fucking toilet. If we have this fucking fat orange fucking douchebag sitting on his golden toilet, deciding that he doesn't like what the fuck people are saying about him, so he's going to revoke their license because they're being mean to him. We've never had a president do that. That's so fucked up on so many levels. And the fact that his fucking friend, Brendan Carr, I didn't even know this guy's name until today, actually. But that's how evil this is. That, you know, the head of the FCC is this huge fucking MAGA person. So we're gonna be hearing more about him. I guarantee it. But you know, it's just so fucked up. It's almost like this is why I wanted to drink last week and why I was feeling suicidal. I mean, all of this stuff makes me feel hopeless, and I do believe hopelessness is the point. It's not cruelty. They want people to just feel hopeless, and they want people to just fucking give up fighting. It's like, you know what? It's too corrupt. I can't fucking fight something this corrupt. That's what all this is. Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that. You know, it's like, if I don't survive the rest of this presidency, I at least want to know that I did everything I could to fucking like tell them what I thought of them. You know, not in a violent way. I'm not a violent person. So you can calm down if you're like a MAGA person thinking I'm suggesting I would get violent. I'm not saying that. But no, like, I mean, this is fucking wrong. This is fucking wrong. It's fucking wrong. This is unacceptable. You can't have a fucking president who's, we're gonna like just be revoking the licenses of networks if he doesn't like how they're reporting on him. That is, God, again, can you fucking imagine if Obama pulled this shit? He would get lynched. I'm sorry. Like, I mean, it's like, but Trump does it and he's great. Making America great again. Ugh. Fucking stupid fucking idiots. You know what I hate? I hate fucking stupid people. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not accusing anybody specific of being stupid, but I fucking hate stupid people. And I hate stupid people who vote. I actually love everybody, but then part of me, even when I love everybody, hates them a little bit for being stupid and still going and voting. I'll just leave it at that. What else is happening in the news? Earthquake. Here's another fucked up thing. Pentagon leaders are considering a new recruiting campaign that would encourage young people to honor the legacy of assassinated conservative activist Charlie Kirk by joining the military, according to two officials familiar with the planning. The idea would be to frame the recruiting campaign as a national call to service. Charlie has awakened a generation of warriors, according to the officials. So basically what they're saying is they're considering using chapters of Kirk's political organization, Turning Point USA, at schools across the U.S. as military recruitment centers. See, this is so fucked up. So a right-wing hate speech provocateur who said Martin Luther King was a horrible person and that the Civil Rights Act was a mistake and that women should be subservient to their husbands and that gay people were an abomination and transgender people were mentally sick and all this other stuff, all this like hateful stuff. And now we're going to use his legacy to recruit new people into the military. That fucking scares me too. So we're taking away the press. We're revoking people's FCC licenses. We're going to make it harder and harder for people to share information. And now we're going to have all these freedom warriors or whatever, like these fucking frat guys. And you know that's what it's going to be. These fucking jughead fucking frat guys being recruited at these recruitment centers. Let's just call it what it is. They will be, fucking brown shirts. Like they'll be like little Nazi soldiers. That's what it sounds like they want to do. Where basically they want to get an army. It sounds like they want to get an army that thinks the way they do. First of all, the military shouldn't be an ideological thing. Like people want to serve in the military, that's great, but there shouldn't be ideology attached to it where it's like, okay, do you have all the same conservative values we have? No, because that's fucked up. Because here's the thing too, when they train all these new little like turning point soldiers, are they going to use them in foreign wars or are they just going to turn them on American people? It's the thing I'm wondering, aren't you? I think everybody who sees a story like that, considering everything else that's going on, yeah, I'd be wondering, like, okay, who are you going to use those soldiers on? Probably somebody like me, gay liberal atheist living in the Bible Belt, doing some fucking podcast where I'm talking about this type of stuff. I mean, I must have rocks in my head doing this fucking podcast. Like, seriously, I must have a fucking death wish or something, but it is what it is. I'm like one of those people, I can't shut up. Like, I have to say stuff. I'm just not designed to stay silent to my own detriment. So anyways, that's what's happened in the news. You get the point. We're fucked right now. But meanwhile, something else happened. Donald Trump did something else. So let's go to the next segment. I'm kind of a douchebag when I'm dealing with assholes.
I'm kind of a douchebag when I'm dealing with assholes. Kind of a douchebag when I'm dealing with assholes. I'm kind of a douchebag when I'm dealing with assholes. Yeah.
Here's what Donald Trump said 2 days ago. Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend was in this room with Donald Trump and a bunch of other people, and they were talking about all the pride flags in a gay part of Washington, D.C. There's a part in Washington, D.C. that like has a lot of gay businesses and gay residents. It's kind of the gay neighborhood. So, in the wake of the Charlie Kirk shooting, where, suddenly the radical left is out to get everybody, according to people like Donald Trump and all his fucking cronies, Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend, some fucking douchebag, I can't remember his name, he was going on and on about these transgender flags and the pride flags in this neighborhood and how people are feeling threatened by these pride flags. And so Donald Trump chimed in after they talked about it for a while, and he was like, yeah, maybe they could be considered domestic terrorist flags. I've already posted a video about this on Facebook. You guys, when I heard that, I fucking flipped out. I did. As the victim of a gay bashing, and I know I already talked about it, my community has had to fight so fucking hard to be proud of who we are. And to have these fucking assholes, I'm getting mad again, to have these fucking assholes be like, oh, it's a symbol of domestic terrorism. Fuck you. Fuck you. Donald, if you're listening to this right now, fuck you. And I know I've told you to fuck off a zillion times. And the same for Marjorie Taylor's fucking boyfriend, whoever the fuck you are. Fuck you. Saying that the pride flag is a symbol of domestic terrorism. Fuck you. You guys have no idea what it's like to be persecuted or oppressed or beat up for who you are or bullied, being called names, having your family disown you because they're super religious and they think you're a sinner. I know people who've been thrown out of their house for being gay. I know a guy who was thrown out of his house like his parents were throwing all his fucking possessions onto the front lawn and telling him he was going to burn in hell. And you know what? That guy ended up killing himself. That's why we celebrate Pride, you fucking douchebags. Not because we're domestic terrorists. We celebrate Pride because we have to remind ourselves to be proud of who we are, because you people spend your whole lives trying to make us feel ashamed. You ever thought about that? We wouldn't even need to fucking have gay pride if there wasn't fucking homophobic douchebags trying to make us feel ashamed every fucking chance they get, demonizing us, calling us abominations, people like Charlie Kirk, who you guys love to fucking canonize and turn into a saint. He wasn't so much of a saint for gay people, or transgender people, or lesbians, or queer people, or non-binary people. He absolutely wasn't a fucking saint. And he went on to his little college campuses with all these fucking frat guys and conservative people and talked about how horrible we were and how we groomed children and all this other such bullshit, just making shit up about us. And you can't tell me that that didn't end up getting some queers beat up. I guarantee you, over the course of his life, some of his rhetoric, he may not have realized this, and you might not have realized this, but I guarantee you, it got some fags beat up. I guarantee you it did. I've been on college campuses. I know what they're like. I know what these fucking frat guys are like. You know, when they get drunk, let's go beat up some fucking queers. Oh yeah, and remember what that guy Charlie Kirk said about queers? They want to get our kids and groom them. Let's go beat up a couple. That's how this works, you guys, and that's why we celebrate gay pride. So fuck you for calling it a symbol of fucking domestic terrorism. Fuck you. We celebrate gay pride because you guys, I'm not saying you, Donald Trump, and I'm not saying you, Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend, whoever the fuck you are, but people like you and people who follow you and people who are fans of yours. You know, we celebrate pride because people like that post laugh emojis when we get murdered and say that we deserved it, leave comments saying we deserved it, and that people should kill more of us. That's why we celebrate pride. It must be so nice. It must be so nice to be white, straight, Christian, and especially male. It must be nice. I would like to know what that's like sometime to have that privilege. And then to still feel persecuted because, you know, I don't know, you make up reasons to be persecuted, like that there's a war on Christmas, or that there's a transgender lady on one single can of Bud Light, or that there's one gay couple on a Hallmark movie. And so it's like, oh my God, we're being persecuted. No, you're just being forced to admit that there's other people in the world besides white, straight, Christian people. That there's all sorts of people, actually. Diversity is just, you know, biology, which is, I guess, why you people hate science and biology. And it's like, do you really think that the world's going to stop being diverse? Do you think that people are going to stop being diverse? You can't stop people from being who they are. And so, you know, that's why we celebrate pride, because we know that this is who we are. And we want to remember that despite all the bullshit you fucking people do, we're still proud of who we are. And we want young people who are just coming out of the closet and maybe even tried to kill themselves a couple times because they were bullied. We want them to know, like, hey, look, here's some happy gay people who didn't kill themselves and they're doing okay. Maybe, you know, you'll be okay too. And that's not grooming children. That's just giving young people who are scared some fucking hope. That's all that is. And I know that you guys, according to Charlie Kirk, empathy is a bad word. I think it says a lot about your fucking political party that you are turning somebody who thinks empathy was a bad word, you're turning him into a saint. The guy who demonized empathy. It's fucking sad. You people seem fucking sad to me. You seem like you have really fucking miserable lives. Anyways, enough with you fucking douchebags. Fuck off. It's not a symbol of domestic terrorism, and you guys are fucking lame. I'm just going to take a couple more phone calls, and then we can wind it up.
Hey, Daniel, I've been struggling a lot with feeling resentful towards somebody. And I know that, you have talked in the past about letting go of resentments. Could you share a specific resentment that has really bothered you from a lot of your life, and talk about how you move past it, especially without believing in God? Like, how did you do that? We'd love to hear your take on that. Okay, thanks. I love the podcast.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you have a really, I'm sorry, I don't know if you're gay or straight, but you have a very sexy voice. I should say. Okay, well, thank you for calling. Yeah, resentment is a tough one. I think I've been discussing resentment this entire episode, really. I've been talking about resentment. I do think resentment is the thief of joy. There's a couple of expressions that I like about resentment. Resentment is the poison we pour for somebody else, but then we drink ourselves. And expectations are resentments waiting to happen. Like, if I have expectations about something, I'm probably going to get a resentment because things very rarely go the way we want them to. And so I really need to hold my expectations with very loose hands and allow them to change. People are going to be people, and a lot of times they'll let us down. Life will let us down. As an atheist, I've come to embrace that. And it's actually given me some comfort because in the past, when life wasn't going my way and I didn't get the things I wanted, for instance, I'll just use my music career as an example. From a very young age, I wanted to be a rock star. When I was making up songs in my backyard, and then I learned how to play guitar, and then I was in these bands, and then I moved to New York and I became the subway singer, and then I just worked really, really hard. And, I had this way of thinking that was very destructive at the time, but I didn't realize it. It was like, I will be happy when. And then there was this laundry list of stuff that was going to make me happy. Like, I will be happy when I'm famous, when I'm on MTV, when I'm rich, when I have a hit single, when I look this way, when I'm blah, 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 dating this person. Like, it was all this stuff that was outside me, but that was the stuff that was going to make me happy. And so people kept coming up to me saying, "Oh, Daniel, happiness is an inside job. Happiness is an inside job." And honestly, I didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. And it took me a long time to figure out, oh, yeah, happiness is an inside job. Like, all that stuff, it was all external stuff. And what I was essentially saying was, okay, I'll be happy when this happens. I'll be happy when that happens. What I essentially was saying to myself every day was that I was not happy with right here, right now, where I was at that given moment. And so for years, I was going through life waiting to be happy, waiting for all this stuff to fall into place so that I could be a happy person. And, it's not that I was like walking around with a frown on my face. I'd like laugh and I'd be with friends, but there was always this thing in the back of my mind that like life wasn't giving me what I wanted. And then, like it almost worked. I almost became a rock star. For a very brief moment, it looked like it was going to work out. I got this big record deal. Elton John signed me to his record label, and they sunk a bunch of money into trying to make me famous. And then the whole thing fell apart because of corporate takeover. And then I was back out waiting tables and sleeping on friends' couches, and it's kind of back to just being a normal person. And because I didn't have the tools, like the tools that I have now as an older person, like where I don't expect things from life, like I just kind of like realize life's going to happen the way it's going to happen. And I may want things, but maybe I'll get them, maybe I won't. But my job is to try and find the joy right now. It's very hard, especially right now when we're going through things like this. But yeah, so I spent a long time being very resentful. Like I resented that I didn't get this, and then I started drinking. And so if you were unlucky enough to saddle up to me at a bar for years, like I drank for years, there was a lot of years where I was pretty fucked up. And so if you were unlucky enough to saddle up to me at a bar, you would hear the whole fucking story, about how they fucked me over and I didn't get this and I didn't get that. And Elton John fucked me over and the record label fucked me over, and like all this other stuff. Honestly, I mean, I think the thing about resentment, I mean, it's okay to get angry. Like anger is normal. Like if somebody cuts you off in traffic or does something mean, it's normal to get angry. We wouldn't have that emotion if it wasn't necessary. So obviously, like anger does serve a purpose. It lets us know that there's things we don't like. Oh, like this is something I don't like this. This makes me angry. Like, for instance, all the shit Donald Trump's pulling right now. It makes me angry. It would be weird if it didn't make me angry. But resentment is where we take that anger and we build a nice home for it in our heart. And we make it all comfortable. We let anger move in. And suddenly it has a permanent residence in our soul. And it's almost like resentment is something that like we covet, almost like that guy from Lord of the Rings, that the Gollum guy, like my precious, we'll be thinking about this resentment and we love to just turn it over and look at it and talk about it and talk about we hate this person, whatever. And so, I'd love to say that I don't have resentments today. I absolutely do have resentments against this administration. It's definitely evolved from just plain old anger. Like, yeah. I resent this administration. I absolutely do. Why? Because we can't escape it. It's there. It's running the show. And we all live underneath it. And it fucking sucks. And so, yeah, I feel very resentful. It would be weird if I didn't. So there's some resentment that I think is unavoidable. But I think for me, how can I still live with this resentment? So I think part of it is, I'm always reminding myself to get right back to right here and right now, because if right here and right now, can I still find things to be grateful for? And so the opposite of resentment is gratitude. And, sometimes it's not easy to find gratitude, and sometimes when we're really wrapped up in our resentment, it's almost like we don't want to be grateful. Like we're getting a high off of being resentful. But it's really not healthy. I think it takes years off our life. And so, yeah, sometimes it's just as simple as sitting down and making a gratitude list. And most of the time when I make a gratitude list, I don't want to do it. But then after I do it, I feel better. There's so many things in life. I don't want to do them at the time, even though I know they're good for me. But then as soon as I do them, I feel better. So like if I just sit down with a pad of paper and I just start writing down all the things I'm grateful for, I might still be angry at this person, but like the resentment goes away for a little while. And hey, progress is progress. So I would encourage you to make a gratitude list and do something nice for yourself. If you're resentful against somebody else, you could also talk to them as well. I don't know why I didn't mention that, but yeah, you could talk to them. I don't know if that's an option, but communication can solve a lot of things. So if it's somebody that it's safe for you to talk to them, maybe like out in a public place. I think sometimes like going to a neutral place to talk to people is a good idea. So if you can do that, that's an option. But also be nice to yourself. All right. Who else? Uh-oh. I think that my wonderful, wonderful partner, Corey, called.
Hey, baby, it's your Corey. I'm hanging out with the Mennonites, waiting on some sandwiches. And a question occurred to me. Do you feel like there are some beneficial aspects of religion? Are there things about organized Western religion that you see as being of use to humanity? Just food for thought. Love you. Bye.
Aw. That was my lovely partner, Corey, asking a question. Yeah, I do think that there's some benefit to, well, I mean, aside from the fact that like they believe in a God that I don't believe in, like I don't believe in God. But as far as like one of the things I will say about organized religion is community. That's the thing. Like, I always go back to that. Like, when people are like, well, what is some of the good things that like religion gives people? I think it gives them a sense of community. And I think community is really important. If they could keep all the, you know, lobbying to take away people's civil rights and imposing their religious views on other people, if they could keep that out of the equation, I would have no problem with religion. Like, and as I've said many times, my best friend is Christian. He goes to a wonderful church. They're very gay positive and transgender positive, and they believe in a woman's right to make her own decisions about her body. They are pro welcoming immigrants and seeing what they need, like not treating people like criminals just because they come from a different place. They're a very liberal church. They're very progressive. And yeah, I mean, I actually love everybody at his church. I think they're all awesome. The only thing I don't have in common with them is that I don't believe in God. But everything else, like they have all the same values that I have. Like, they are horrified by the presidency of Donald Trump too. So not everybody who's religious is a fan of Donald Trump. Like, a lot of people aren't. There's a lot of progressive Christians and Catholics who think he's horrible. They think he's like just the worst thing ever. So he does not have a monopoly on all religious people. So yeah, I have had the opportunity of being around religious people who aren't bigots and seeing that sense of community they have. Like, it's beautiful. You know, a couple episodes back, I talked about 10 things that suck about being an atheist. And one of them was that we don't have that same community. Like, I have some atheist friends out there, and there's a couple little meetups, but we don't have that sense of community that a church has. I get that sense of community going to my anonymous meetings for my alcoholism. I won't say the name of the organization, but yeah, that's where I get my sense of community. And I'm a member of a local artist guild. I'm the treasurer of our local artist guild, and yeah, so I mean, that's all nice, and I like all that. And it's nice to go and see people and be around people, you know. So I think that's one of the things I do like about religion, as long as they're not assholes about their religion. I think that it's nice to see. Community is always a wonderful thing, so long as the community is people getting together for the common good of everybody, not so that they can impose their bigoted views on people. Anyways, I think that's it, you guys. I think I've talked about everything under the sun. I talked about the fact that we are quickly devolving into fascism. Donald Trump is acting like a deranged dictator. Donald Trump wants to basically strip us of our TV stations, and that we're all required now to love him unconditionally and not ever criticize him, apparently. So that was the moral of this whole episode, is that we are basically watching a fascist, unhinged dictatorship unfold. And if you don't think we are, then I don't know what fucking planet you're living on or what drugs you're smoking, because it's clearly obvious to anybody who knows anything about free speech. It is very quickly getting taken away, and that scares the fucking hell out of me. You know, I've always heard stories of people who live in these countries where they don't have freedom of speech. You're not allowed to criticize the government. You know, like fucking North Korea and Russia. A lot of these, like, Middle Eastern countries. It always seems like a fucking miserable existence. Like, would anybody want America to be like that? Laura Loomer, the fucking silicone-faced fucking puppet of Donald Trump, she actually said that she wants him to be a dictator. She said, I want Donald Trump to be the dictator that the left was always afraid he would be. He should be that. And I actually, like, said a couple episodes ago, like, yeah, that's what they want. That's not a threat to MAGA people. Him being a dictator, that's a selling point. That's what they want. And so it's scary to think that that is what we might get. I mean, it's really precarious at this point. And I don't know, how do you stop an unhinged dictator? Like, how do you stop that? It's a good question. Anyways, I love everybody. I didn't want to end on such a fatalistic note, but these are very dire times we live in. I mean, I can't lie and say they're not. So we all need to show up at the polls. We all need to vote. This is not a time to be silent. I think the other thing that's happening with all this censoring and shaming people for not crying enough about Charlie Kirk and reporting people to their bosses and getting people fired, this is all so that they want people to just start shutting up. And they want us to just bow down our heads and just become subservient. That's what they want. And so this is when we can't afford to do that. We need to be louder than ever. We need to be calling them out on their bullshit relentlessly. Relentlessly. And if they take away the networks, then we're going to have to become the news. We're going to have to just start reporting the news ourselves. Just getting online all the time and fucking letting people know this is what's fucking going on. We have each other. So, scary times. Anyways, I love you guys. Go to my website, danielcartier.com, and you can leave me a voicemail or go to speakpipe.com/thereisnogod and we're all gonna die. Speakpipe.com/thereisnogod and we're all gonna die. And you can leave me a voice message that way. Or you can go to my website, danielcartier.com, and you can leave me a voice message there and I will play it on the show and I will respond to it. And then you can be a podcast superstar. So that's enough out of me. Have a great rest of the week. Stay safe, stay sane, and know that I am sending you a ton of love. All right.
There is no God and we're all gonna die. There is no God and we're all gonna die. There is no God and we're all gonna die. There is no God, there's just you and I.